It's Thursday, September 22nd, 2022, and this is Comic Book Spectrum. Whether you're watching us live or on the reruns, we appreciate you all. Please leave comments, and let's start the show right now.
Seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
How dare you!
Well, we dare a lot around here. It's Comic Book Spectrum with comic book reviews and discussion, all kinds of cool stuff, and we're glad you're here. Thank you for showing up tonight. And if you enjoy any part of the show now or in the future, please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, please subscribe if you haven't already, and we're going to get this thing started now. We're going to bring in our panel. We're going to bring in Jody McFee, Clyde Hall, and Eric S. Hawkins. Let's get everybody in the correct order here. It's always
confusing.
Something.
Fix it.
Yes, dear. Okay, now we're straightened out here, and also this show is brought to you by Rising Tide Publications and Plasma Fire Graphics. On the look of your book matters to you, which Clyde has a sterling representation of behind him there.
Look at
Will you
this.
explain what that is?
That is the cover to my Captain Hawkins, The Lost Adventures contribution to his 10th anniversary celebration at Stormgate Press. This is the cover to the Banshee Barnstormer, done by Jeffrey Hayes, and he was making posters, and he just asked if I would like one free, and that's the kind of guy he is. He reached out to me and offered it because he knew that I really, really loved the job he did on this poster, and so now it's on my wall, and I'm loving it. So Jeffrey Hayes, Plasma Fire Graphics, because the look of your book matters to you and to your readers, and he will make them sing.
That is true. That is true. And carry a tune while they're at it. And by the way, Jeffrey, I really loved my cover on the Skyhook Remnant. Anyway, I can't be bought. Anyway, let's go around the room here. We'll start with Clyde and go around the room. We'll go clockwise because that says it all. And then we'll get to everybody's comments, so keep them coming and see how far behind you can get us. And we'll start, like I said, with Clyde Hall. Explain who you are and why you're so amazing.
Well, I'm Clyde Hall, and I used to be a journalist. And then I became a civil servant, and I learned how to make some stuff up. Now I just make all kinds of stuff up as a contributing fiction writer at Stormgate Press. And you know them. They won 2021 and 2022 Pulp Factory Awards for their Pulp Reality Anthology series.
Yay!
Yes, yay! That includes Pulp Reality 1, Pulp Reality 2, and Pulp Reality 3. And coming soon, look for Pulp Reality number 4. Or you can go to www.stormgatepress.com and you can see all that Stormgate Press has to offer in the new pulp genre. I also provide online comic book reviews at places like Comics Beat, aka The Beat, where right now you can find my thoughts on R.L. Stine's new horror miniseries for mature readers, Stuff of Nightmares #1. And I do reviews at doomrocket.com, where in the next week or so you should be able to read my review of Vault Comics Creep Show #1. Getting into that Halloween spirit, I even wore my Halloweeny shirt for it. But most Thursday nights, I'm just manning the bridge of the USS Comic Book Spectrum with my fellow comics pros, the shipmates that are right here on Comic Book Spectrum.
Most excellent. Thank you very much, Clyde. And now we're going to throw it to Eric S. Hawkins, the Pro Slayer himself.
I don't get to slay pros anymore. They don't have a show anymore. I put them out of business.
You slayed them all.
I killed them all.
They fear you.
Yeah, I'm Eric Hawkins. Obviously, I'm a comic book creator. I write, draw, color, letter, do all that fun stuff. And you can find me here every Thursday night. You can find me after this on another show where I draw for 2 hours. I don't know what we're doing tonight. We're supposed to be doing H.R. Geiger, but that might get canceled, so I don't know. But that's it. That's it. I draw and write. That's it.
And that's so much. You do
It's a lot.
You do
Yeah,
both
I
well.
draw traditional stuff too. See my sheet?
Yeah.
Yo,
Yes.
What? Oh, okay. I see it back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Bring it closer. She got some
Ooh.
thick thighs. She didn't skip leg day. And that's it. That's me.
That's him.
Yeah, that's it. That's me. I like coffee too. I love coffee. And I just found out there's some kind of comics coffee out there that David Finch does advertisements for, and they got some Batman Dark Roast, which I think we're going to try. It looked pretty good. It's got Jim Lee art on the package.
It's probably not going to be any good because it ain't Thomas Wayne.
He might be on the back of the box. And apparently it's still me. Okay, what else we got? Oh, no.
Well, I could go ahead and introduce myself to kind of, we don't forget about that.
Yeah.
I do this book. I'm already working on issue 5. I'm working on Zombieful Adventures #1, which will launch on Kickstarter October 7th. And October 7th as well. And every week through October, I'm going to put a new page of Hounds of Hell on my Patreon for my Patreon members. And I will not be selling that book or reprinting that book anywhere else.
I signed up to for your pre-launch so that I'll be advised when you launch your.
Cool.
Yes.
Because
your,
that's all you got to do is you
Kickstarter.
notify me on launch, and it'll send you an email say, hey, this guy launched this stuff.
Yeah, it was a one-button thing, one-button transaction. Boom.
Yeah, that's all it
Done.
takes.
Done.
It's
Over with.
easy.
And you know how people love easy.
Hey,
so,
Carl,
well,
if you're in control, we may have lost Brian. I'm not sure. So, he says my local internet went out. I should be back in about 5 minutes or so. Keep the show going.
okay.
Okay.
Joe, what do you got?
I wish I could show people, but I can't because, again, that's
I'll just dance for a little while.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I'll dance, you talk.
Well, pretty much what I got going here is, like, for those who don't know me, I am Joe D. McFee. I'm the creator and writer and all the good stuff for Amazonia, Primetime Saturday Night, and AWF here. I do have my little bit of a show called From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. And pretty much, well, Eric is not the writer. I'm not the artist, but I'm actually sketching right now as we speak. So it was kind of like a hold me down until I was actually able to get the camera. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Carl's coming around. So I got nice little cool things like Amazonia #7, which, again, for those who back the Kickstarter, the last shipment goes out this weekend. So be looking for your emails for your tracking confirmation and everything here. So it will be going out this weekend. And pretty much like I said before, unlike Eric, who's not the writer, he pretty much, everybody knows him more for the art. I'm pretty much the creator that not a lot of people know that I draw, but this is kind of like, if I could get it. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Perfectly. The blue line sketching here, just doing some blue line sketching here of some of the characters that I have created here. So that's why I was, kind of sketching while we was getting ready for the show and everything here. In addition to that, I have been contributing over to the actual Comics Unlimited magazine, which most people don't realize I do from time to time. So every so often, you might catch an article from me in Comics Unlimited, which you could get on Amazon as we speak here. So that's pretty much everything that we're going to have to talk about here. So if we do still have the guy that's in the background named Carl, this will be a good time here
Yeah, Carl.
to run the Jeffrey Hayes spot. Because again, we must give homage to those who back us 100%. And Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics does that royally. So without further ado, here is the spot for Plasma Fire Graphics.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
And that, he's back. So
He's back.
I'm off the hook. He's back.
I had to dance for 10 minutes.
Sorry about that. Not my fault. The local internet went out, but we do want to say a big hand. Thank you so much to Carl Witzman, who stepped in. And took over for me for a moment. Thank you very much, Carl. Much appreciated as always, my friend. Thank you, sir. Oh, now I don't know who these guys are. I missed everything. Crap. Anyway,
we're at the point to tell people who you are and why you're so awesome.
Yeah.
He's like, nah.
No, I'm Brian K. Morris, who thinks he's in control of this thing, but then the internet reminds him otherwise. Anyway, thank you again for everyone's patience. I'm Brian K. Morris, and as loath as I am to talk about myself, I'm an independent writer, publisher, work for myself, work for other people. I'm an award-winning playwright, genuine award-winning writer for this book, and also an editor of the finest comics known to man. Okay, and also former mortician's assistant. I'm available on Amazon, also risingtide.pub, and I do this every week or so, and one of these days I'm sure to get it right. Law of averages is on my side. So anyway, again, thank you very much, Carl Witzman, for stepping in at our moment of greatest needs. So
we have survived the coup.
Yes. The enemies of mankind are everywhere, and I had to take a moment off to fight them off. So anyway, let's get to the comments now. And our hero of the hour, Carl Witzman, wishes us a good evening. Good evening to you, Carl. Thank you. And Donna, Carlene, mwah! Check out Carl and Donna. Their books are available on Lulu.com. You need to have them in your library. You will be thrilled. And just you and me so far, sweetie. Well, it's minus me for about 5 minutes, so it's taking an uptick for a while. And just wanted to have it out there. That's what she said. And Adrian Gambit, good to see you. It's going well. I hope you are doing well tonight. And everybody, and Adrian Johnson. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you up and about. Hope you're doing well. And Cindy Cap, CKOEPP.com. Check out that website. Sign up for her newsletter because she is amazing. Mwah. Glad to see you here. And Ted Davies Artistry, mwah to you. Glad to have you here, Ted. Check out TedDaviesArtistry.com for good stuff. And I'm ready for some more fun, too, now that we've got the powerful internet going. And the one, the only, Frog G is here saying, tickle the algorithm, smash the like, dingle the bells, and subscribe. Thank you, Frog G.
And back his Indiegogo, too.
Yes, definitely, because Frog G, like Cindy Cap, do a lot for this community. So please support them in their creative endeavors. And everyone's saying, hello, hail, Frog. We agree. Frog, hail to you, my friend. And a rising tide lifts all moods, except for about 5 minutes ago. And anyway, check us out there. And hail Donna and Ted is learning how to use his keyboard, and cool. And from the desk of a small press publisher, right there, Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, with all kinds of great commentary and reviews and all kinds of good stuff. And want more Joe? Who the heck would? And there's that Linktree address to Sylv Bolt. It's got all of his links, and you can follow him everywhere. And musical covers could be interesting. That would be fun. And I do like a musical cover. I do prefer, like, the Pointer Sisters' Fire to Bruce Springsteen's. But anyway, everyone's saying hello, hello, hello. And comicsbeat.com for the reviews of our own Clyde here. And everyone's still saying hello. And stormgatepress.com for all kinds of Captain Hawkins excitement. And some really cool anthologies, not just Pulp Reality, but something else is coming up the way, too, that we're going to be involved with. And yes, having so much fun. And selling settings for books to syndicate Pope Realty. There we go. Oh my goodness. And Ryan Permison. Ryan, haven't seen you in ages. Hope you're doing well, brother. And hello, CBS crew. How are you? How about all that Shadow swag I got? I saw that.
Yeah.
He loaded up on some good stuff there.
And here's a brand new show that he does with Crayley, Comic Books The New Class. It's a very short 15 minutes show that they run, but it's an excellent show, and they do cover the gamut of everything.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Love them both. So anyway, glad you're here, Ryan, and hail, hail, hail. And do you want more Eric? Who the heck wouldn't? Hop on over and check out Linktree E. Hawkins 1971. I gotta get mine shored up one of these days. And just like the grown-ups. And Frog G, Voodoo, Gods, and Magic at that Indiegogo address. Please be generous with your support of that, because I've seen it. What I've seen looks really, really good. So please check that out. And Zombieful Adventures featuring Tom Sawyer. That's going to be a Kickstarter coming soon. So, and BK, making me work. I know, I am such a slave driver. I really am. Well, there'll be a little extra in your pay packet this week, Carl. And Carl's going, when did I start getting one? And Eric says, Carl had enough and said, get that fool off my screen. Yeah. Wait, days, he's going to launch a coup against me, and he'll take over this show. And Carl's there going, no. Oh, hell no.
Comic book rainbow all of a sudden.
I can see that. And Cindy Kemp thinks that's snazzy. I agree. And a big hand for Carl for taking over. There's one. Bravo, Carl. Thank you so much. And back for more fun, you betcha. And wonders where Lissy and Jennifer are. They must have known Eric was going to dance. Well, when he brings home all those singles, I think they're going to change their tune, if you know what I mean. And BKM is DC or internet provider too. Just wait till you send Grim 101 number 3 to me and see how your spelling errors multiply. Anyway,
come back as Superman.
That's right. Yes, we're going to change all the names in there.
Brian, you just transferred all this onto red paper. I don't understand.
There you go. The ghost is suddenly he's not there to find his past. He's going to be there for looking for truth, justice, and the American way. And Jennifer isn't home from work, says Eric Hawkins, which and he's having a good time now. She was probably making up time. We had to go to the ER yesterday.
Yeah.
What happened, Eric?
Jennifer, for as long as I've known her, she's had like kidney issues with kidney stones.
Okay.
And sometimes it gets really, really bad. She came home from work and we went up to the ER for about it was only 3 hours. And typically, most of the times they can't do anything for them. And they told her, it wasn't big enough for them to do anything, So they gave her some pain meds. So she ventured to work today and she's still there. So I'm quite proud.
Well, yeah, it should be. Well, Jennifer, we hope you get to feeling better fast, hon. You are missed. And I like how you said only 3 hours in the ER. I like that. And Donna's reading my mind. Oh, no, I hope she's okay. And Eric, now we have insider information here. Eric Hawkins says kidney stones. It's a common problem she has. First time we have had to go to the ER in a while, though. Well, let's hope we never have to go back for this. And Batman sound effects. Hey, look me up on Smashwords. I will have stuff there. And Stormgate Press Fun with me, of course, and Adrian Johnson. And I did play on Words when it came to my YouTube channel. Well, good. I'm glad to see that. we'll check it out later. And Amazon's take over the desk of small presses every Saturday night. Check out Silvboat there. And our own from the desk of small press publisher Joe D. McFee. And Zombies Invade Oz, you bet they do. Check out Eric Hawkins on Comixology. Now, you weren't going to put number 4 up, were you? Or have you?
The only one that's on Comixology right now is 1. You can go read. If you haven't read issue 1, go out to Webtoon. It is there for free. Go check it out.
Yeah. And check out my credit. Anyway, you can stop reading after that. But anyway,
which, by the way, Hounds of God will be self-edited because I'm doing a page a week. I won't have time for Brian to edit it.
I can. So I don't want to hear
There might
any.
not be a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, I was going to say the first silent comic that Eric has ever done. It's going to look like an issue of G.I. Joe.
There's only one issue like that.
Yeah, it was a very good Snake Eyes.
It was the best issue of G.I. Joe 2.
Inspire me to get this tattoo.
There we go. See? There we go. But no, if you need editing, I can turn that around quickly.
Oh, no, there really isn't going to be a lot to it. I mean, it's going to be 4 pages because I'm only doing October. If people like it, people sign up, maybe I'll keep going with it there.
There we go.
But right now, it's just going to be the origin of a particular werewolf who becomes a priest. So.
Excellent. And Cindy Kemp implores us to check out Clyde's Tales at stormgatepress.com. Check out B-Man. They are worth it. And, ouch, Carl can relate to that. And, yeah, dang kidney stones. Carl, I'm sorry to hear about that. Holy cow. That's rough. So, anyway, we have caught up with your comments. I guess when I leave, the show moves faster. So, anyway.
I'm going to say I think kidney stones are worse for men. I've never had one, but I would gather they're probably worse for men because they got longer to travel to get out.
My uncle had them, and he said that he had great empathy for ladies that were giving birth. And he showed me the size of them, and I'm like, how did you get that out? It was pretty nasty. So, Adrian Johnson says, and I do stream video games on my free time, and I do have fun with that. Well, then you're doing it right. If you're not having fun while you're doing this, then why do it at all? Seriously. Yeah, we have a chat that we share snark in on Facebook, and a picture of another show. I won't identify it. And I described it as looking like they were all waiting for their colonoscopy. It was a pretty grim tableau. And the day that we all 4 of us have that expression on our face, that will be the final show. I promise you.
You'll know that that's a lubeless day. For
that is.
Nothing dry.
And that was our own Carl, or our own Clyde that did that little analogy there. He surprises us every now and then, like Batwang. Anyway, let's see. Now, Clyde has to, repair Space Lab tonight, I think it is?
Something like that. I gotta launch into orbit a little early, probably, so...
Okay. So we are going to lead off with the gold standard tonight.
However, do we need
downhill from there?
Do we need comic book phone first to let people vote, or is that what you're doing tonight, Joe?
If you want me to, I could narrow it down to 1 again, but there is 3 that can be done.
Go ahead and throw out the. If it's okay, go ahead.
Perfectly okay. So you got the floor, Joe.
All right. So the return of comic book phone now, because I finally caught back up and I'm slowly starting to get all the stuff that I've been waiting for to come through the mail, but we still got some older ones that I still have in hand. So for Red Sita number 2, because it's been around for a while, that is number 1. Number 2 will be Guilt number 4, which means that there's only one more issue before we're at the end, which is issue number 5. That is number 2. And then we got one of my faves. We got Thomas Wayne in Flashpoint Beyond, issue number 2. That would be option number 3. So you can select whenever you feel like it.
All right. Get the polls open. And number 4 will be this. And number 5 will be this one.
Well, 4 I have already reviewed, but you missed it. It was done on my channel.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Story of my life. Holy cow. And let's see. And Eric emphatically votes for number 3. Carl votes for number 2. Cindy Cap, there's always a troublemaker in every group, and Cindy is apparently ours. The cube root of 27.
She
And-
she voted the actual square root of 9.
Yes, there we go. It
There
took
you
me
go.
a moment there. You can tell that math was not my strong suit. And apparently Ted's got a bad stutter there, poor boy.
With 3 being a Flashpoint story, is there an altar to Ezra within the book?
Take it, someone. Anyway. So while we're pondering that and trying not to laugh any harder than we are, well done, Eric. Let's turn the floor over to Clyde Hall for his review. And your votes are still welcome. Keep bringing them in.
That's right. And I'm going to vote for number 3. So get that taken care of. Carl, I happened to come across something this week I had forgotten that I had. I don't have a lot of autographs, but I thought of you because Doctor Who fan. And this is from several years ago, and a friend of mine that went to a con got me Colin Baker's
Ooh,
autograph.
ooh,
Yeah.
that's my boy.
Yeah. Also, Steve Gostelow, the cyber controller. I got one from him too.
It's you.
It looks kind of like me, doesn't it?
You're a Cyberman. That explains a lot.
There you go. That's right. But I forget about some of those sorts of things because I wasn't there. But I had friends that were kind enough to get some for me and thought of me and brought them back. So I had promised Donna that I would give kind of a insight into what I was looking at for next week. So Marvel, Ant-Man number 3, drawing Scott Lang into the time-hopping fray. The DC Horror presents Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead number 1.
Woohoo!
Yeah, we get to see if Rock's got a chin extension like Ash Williams. Superman, the Space Age number 2 comes out, and I want to see if it continues to be a worthy successor to the New Frontier, trying to carry on Darwin Cook's kind of storytelling. At least that's what I felt about the first one. Human Target number 7. It's got more of Tom King pulling no noir punches in a hard-drinking, hard-loving murder mystery involving Giffen and Maguire's Justice League. Nice House on the Lake number 10. I want to see if this overall good series stops its post-break dragging and gets into the meat of this compelling end-of-the-world but only maybe story. Boom Studios has got Briar number 1, which is a dark fantasy retelling of Sleeping Beauty, wherein no rescuer is coming, and methinks the lady doth save herself. Image has got 8 Billion Genies number 5 coming out next week, and got to get that because how could anyone not? This is simply one of the best, if not the best, series of the year. My opinion, but
How can you not support a former writer of She-Hulk?
there you go. Absolutely.
Case closed.
I hate this place number 5. I got to get that one because the story has not held my attention as much as I expected with writer Kyle Starks doing it, but it's still compelling enough. I want to see how it all wraps. Old Dog number 1, a gritty spy-fi series grounded in the world of an old retiring CIA operative suddenly given a chance to work in a very different future and perhaps correct some of the mistakes he made in the past. Also, I missed out on issues 3 and 4 of Naughty List that I've done a review on here from Aftershock. So there are TPBs coming out next week, and I want to get it to see the wrap on the Santa as a Curse series because I want to be ready when the Yuletide hits start coming. So that's my pull list for this week. Other comics I got this week that I really, really liked. Creep Show number 1. If you like EC, if you like the Creep Show movies, you'll love this. Paul Dini is one of the writers too for it, and he did a great job. Stuff of Nightmares #1. This is R.L. Stine's venture into reimagining classic horror monsters and stories for a grown-up, mature audience. I think if you're a Stein fan, you'll like it a lot. It'll make a good addition to your Halloween reading, probably. Weirded Mysteries #1 from Archie. I've just started reading it. I haven't finished it, but it's really good. And some of the writers from the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina series apparently penned this. And you can tell. It's one of the better Archie things I've read lately. So that's all my Halloween goodness out of the way. These I have not yet read, but I'm looking forward to because of everything I've heard about them. World's Finest #7. It's been doing really, really well. And Chip Zdarsky's Public Domain, issue #4.
Yay.
Yeah. And my pick this week, though, to do a review, I wore the Star Trek shirt a couple weeks ago, and I said I was going to read Star Trek Lower Decks #1 because I felt like I needed some new Star Trek in my life. And I was really, really happy with this. It comes from IDW. Star Trek Lower Decks #1. It's one of a 3-issue limited series. It is $6.99, but that's 46 pages, so it's an oversized comic. Written by Ryan North, art and colors by Chris Finoglio, letters by Joanna Natalie, and the maturity level is Teen Plus. While I write for various sites, this is my own independent feature, and it should not be considered representing any views of those sites. So I'll show you the artwork first. And if you don't watch the show, you probably won't have much interest in this. But it does something that is rare. And each of the covers carries their own kind of charm. It has a fairly simplistic art style on the television show, and that has been faithfully reproduced here. We have the USS Cerritos there, going across the galaxy. Nice splash. We have a nod to the Dixon Hill holodeck settings. Another scene. And then turn right around and we do some other holo imaging where somebody else decides they want to do all the different bridges of the various enterprises, including the TV show Star Trek Enterprise, where you have to, you can do it, but it's a Riker program and you can only be the chef. And of course, you can't have a holodeck story without unexpected twists out of the public domain. And we have each of the variant covers gets a very nice pin-up in the back. And we get a little bit of the making of art. So you get several nice extras here. And we've got the Cerritos food replicator with their now serving Warp 5 nachos, set phasers to spicy. Now with cheese-flavored cheese. That's kind of an indication of what kind of a show that Star Trek Lower Decks is, and the kind of comic book that they have fashioned around it. It's quite funny and clever. And Star Trek's always been funny, I think. I know because the original series blooper reels were the first TV series bloopers that I ever saw at sci-fi conventions many decades ago. But the hijinks and hilarity were usually reined in when it came, to stories and adventures on screen. Humorous moments, yes, but, burst out loud, laughing and spewing soda out of your nose like a lawn sprinkler, no, not so much of that. Fewer and light years in between were those moments. SNL did some really good parodies with the help of folks like Bill Shatner, but it wasn't until the Orville brought the funny in a very Trek-like science fiction series that Paramount beamed in the comedy with Star Trek Lower Decks. And for 3 seasons, that show has admirably mined all the different Trek vehicles for humor, using the ideology of I knew Starfleet personnel would do that kind of stuff when no one was looking moments. Full disclosure, I have not read a lot of Star Trek comic books. In fact, I think I have read more Orville comic books by consuming 2 of their miniseries than I have of Star Trek books. I blame my Final Frontier comic book aversion syndrome on an unfortunate encounter with a 1970s gold key comic book with beautiful George Wilson painted cover but stiff interior art and little things like propulsion rockets firing from where the shuttle bay should be. It was
yeah.
it was
Alberto Giolitti, yeah.
yeah, it was the 2-issue DC Who's Who in Star Trek in 1987 before I dared another Trek comic. But curiosity drew me into IDW's Star Trek Lower Decks #1 because the comedic tone of the television show might be hard to capture in a comic. I play an online game called Star Trek Timelines, and while it's a very fun game, some of the dialogue for the recently integrated Lower Decks characters has left me cold. They just don't sound like members of that crew or that show. So, who would IDW get to script a humorous comic book that was the equal of the television series? I asked myself, and IDW answered, as if they heard what I was thinking, like they were doing a Guardian on the Edge of Forever number on me. Ryan North of The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, Adventure Time, comic adaptations, and other stuff that's netted him 9 or so Eisner Awards. That's who. And they could not have chosen better. Between an opening that puts the USS Cerritos between a ship of authority defying space hippies and some low-tech aliens who take offense to being called Herberts, the main characters, Mariner, the I'll break all the rules that I possibly can, and Boimler, who has managed to keep himself out of trouble and keep Mariner from getting thrown into the brig more than she already does, and has actually made ensign now. They have hijinks on the holodeck as our issue continues on, because the holodeck always works out so well for the crews of the starships. And there's that important second contact mission with a race for the rest of the crew. It's a race advanced enough for Federation membership consideration, despite no warp drive tech, which is normally the keystone. If you don't have warp drive, they won't contact you. But in this case, apparently their culture developed all the other technologies first, but not time travel, or not space travel as much. So they qualify for possible membership, but they are not warp capable yet. Along that way, between those two storylines, we get lots of snicker-worthy dialogue, in-jokes across various Star Trek eras and shows, and an ending with double dire situations they'll both bring you back for issue 2. One of the best exchanges is on the holodeck as Mariner and Boimler sample different adventures while discussing how dangerous the holodeck was, creating new life, like Professor Moriarty in a Next Gen episode, and how the safety protocols went out often enough to merit concern for using the holodeck. But that was before Federation engineers put in the new safety protocols to prevent any repeats, which Mariner, of course, feels she has to prove by daring the computer to create another sentient being. Make another public domain character that could outthink Data, or outthink hundreds of Datas, or outthink Ultra Datas, or 100,000 Datas. And each time the computer rejects the command, asserting that it's not an allowable request. Oh yeah, then of course there's the strange energy power surge at just the wrong moment. How inconvenient! And this isn't really the strangest and most dangerous development in the issue so far. The good. The scene describes about perfectly the way that those two interact on the show. In fact, I could hear the voices of actors Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid delivering those lines as I read them. And that accuracy to the characters, not just those two, but all of them, in their speech and their actions is consistently good throughout the book. Likewise, the artwork of Chris Finoglio looks spot on for the animation style used on the program. Yes, it's a simplistic art style, but he is faithful to it. And that is true both in his renderings and the color palette he chooses, because he colored the book also. Joanna Natalie's lettering handles the zippy exchanges and their attributions brilliantly. Her font for things like the ship's computer is especially eye-catching. And we're also given bonus pages with impressive cover art variations presented in their virgin splendor and clever 24th century travel ads. Another page shows us Badgie, an animated badge designed in the TV series as a holo guide, giving a list of references that the issue makes to past episodes of the various Trek series. So if you think that there's one, you can check this list and see if you were right about which one it was and if it was a reference. The bad. I have only one marginal issue with the premiere in a tiny text at the bottom of some pages and panels that appears to be snark from we don't know who. I have watched the show, so maybe this is the comic book version of occasional narration, but it could be Badgie because he does some narration, but he's normally not invisible. You normally see him. Maybe it's supposed to be the ye old editor comments. But it just suddenly appeared on one page and sent me looking back to find if it was ever attributed. And as far as I could tell, it wasn't. It's not the funniest part of the book, but the content's okay. It's just a puzzling addition, and it did stop me dead in my, in the flow of the narrative to look around and see if I could figure out who it was and what they were trying to get across. The takeaway. As my first Star Trek Gold Key experience bears out, adapting a series of or film to comics isn't always simple. Quirky shows, I think, are harder still. That's why Dark Horse's MST3K the comic had its work cut out for it. The Lower Decks creative team manages this challenge, and they deliver with a pitch-perfect adaptation. If you like the TV series, I believe that you will have a lot of fun with this comic. So, for Star Trek Lower Decks #1, it gets my Class M planetary rating of 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. And I understand about those old Star Treks. They did get, I will tell you, they did get better, though.
I should have checked back in, but I remember getting that one and going, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I always got the impression, Giolitti, I think, lived in Italy.
Yes.
And I got the impression that he got, like, the pictures, the press kit from Star Trek,
press kits,
but no context.
Probably not. And that would be really hard to work from. I don't know, they just never struck me. I love the covers. Mm-hmm. Love the covers. They're beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But
but later, Al McWilliams did some of the stories.
Oh, okay.
And those were nice. And I think, like I said, Len Wein did some stories, and so did Arnold Drake. I
went back and looked at some of the creative teams, and I saw where Len Wein had written some of them. But I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get a collection and try to revisit, because they've published them, I think, in trades.
I think so, yeah.
Collections, yeah. But I need to find some of the Wein stories at least and see.
Yeah, I think it was Hermes Press did them, I think. So it's going to be really nice. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we've got some comments still. Carl Wisman says, sweet, I got Colin Baker to sign one of my Doctor Who magazines. It was a proud moment. I told him something nice about his character, and he stopped the line, stood, and shook my hand. That sounds like him.
Yeah.
Very cool. Adrian Johnson has a thing here. If there are any pointers that you guys can give me, or someone that is trying to get into stream videos, that would be awesome. I would say check out StreamYard.com and PM me, and I can give you the rundown on why it is advantageous, as opposed to, forgive me, Carl, OBS. I know, Carl is shocked. He is shocked. But if you have a room temperature IQ like me, Carl, it's pretty it's a lot more conducive to broadcasting for me. So now Cindy Kemp is in rare form tonight. She's got the jokes a coming. And what does a Romulan frog use for camouflage? A croaking device.
Yeah.
And have you heard the new Klingon Army motto? Join the Klingon Army, visit exotic planets, meet interesting people, and kill them.
Yeah.
And how many ears does Picard have? Brace yourself, Joe. 3. A right ear, a left ear, and a final front ear. And And what do you call it when that strategic operations officer at DS9 runs as fast as he can? Warp speed. And what is Commander Riker's favorite hobby? Cindy, this is not the place or time for that
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
No, anyway, sewing. Because the captain says, make it so. And have you read the book, The Positronic Brain? It's by Anne Droid. And have you read the book, Damn It, Jim? It's by I'm a Doctor and Not a Bricklayer. And have you read the book Chekhov, The Navigator? It's by Ike Kipton. Yeah, and you know, I've heard there was a real quick aside here. Somebody did, as you know, the man who played Chekhov in the new series of Star Trek movies was tragically killed a number of years ago, and somebody suggested that Chekhov continue, but they make like third person mentions of it. You know, did you hear, Captain? Did you hear that Chekhov is now the youngest captain in Starfleet? Did you hear that Chekhov single-handedly held off a Romulan invasion? You know, just all these things about Chekhov becoming this great hero now that he's left the Enterprise, and apparently they were holding him back. And Cindy Cap asks, what did Worf say when small ice asteroids began hitting the Enterprise hull? Captain, we are being hailed. And Tablet ran out of gas. Switch devices. Okay, fair enough. Everyone says hello to Cindy, CKOEPP.com. Check out that website. Great informational newsletter, and it's a lot of fun to read. So, thank you, Clyde, as always. And now next, with all the available votes in, I think, Joe, do we have a winner?
Oh, yes, there's a winner.
It's us for getting to listen to this.
It's barely a winner.
It was a closer race than normal.
Yeah, normally
Okay.
it's a landslide, but this one won by 2.
Ooh! See, now this is what democracy's about, people.
Yeah.
Throwing it to Joe.
And the winner is this sketch.
Damn it! I never guessed the right one.
No, I just finished it while Clyde was doing his thing here. But the actual true winner this time around, and I don't blame you for it because you know how I like this character. We getting us some more Thomas Wayne. So Flashpoint Beyond issue number 2 is what was selected for this evening. Now, this is, if I remember correct, a Jeff Johns, Tim Sheridan, and Jeremy Adams writing. Now, what I kind of forgot about this here is that technically this has some like weird tie-in to Dark Crisis. So this is happening kind of like at the same time that Dark Crisis is happening on the actual DC universe that we know and reading in the comic books here. For those who may not have been keeping up, and I'm trying to get the glare out for you guys to see the picture without the top glare there, if that's a little bit better. For those who have been keeping scorecards here, I did issue one many moons ago. So if you don't remember what actually happened, stop the tape right now. Go back maybe, I want to say 2.5 months. Review that if you want the actual blow by blow. But the quick synopsis here is that in issue number 1, we pretty much have Thomas Wayne pretty much going out, after, spending some time and eating dinner with his brand new ward. Thomas Wayne goes out and he actually seeks out the help of Wonder Woman, who was captured by Aquaman, to borrow her lasso. So once he got the lasso and everything, he paid Aquaman kind of a visit and everything. Aquaman thought he was there to assassinate him. He pretty much used the lasso of truth to find out, the actual intentions that he had dealing with a certain hero, aka the Flash, because their version of the Flash has passed, and he's still tracking now what actually happened to him, because he still believed that somebody murdered him. So one thing led to another. Arthur Curry thought it was an assassination attempt, and before Arthur could turn the tables on on Thomas Wayne, here comes Diana. Diana ends up killing Arthur Curry, talking about, you know what? It's a shame that you loved her, aka Mira, if you remember Flashpoint, than me, because I actually did fall in love with you. And then after that was happened, Thomas Wayne gives Diana back the rope. And he was like, well, she was like, well, don't think this is, you're going to be granted mercy when we take over. It's like, no, that's not the point. I got bigger fish to fry. And then at the very end, this is where we get this off-putting scene that comes back to the regular DC universe about this one character coming in with this snow globe in front of Bruce, saying, I need your help. Something is not right within this particular universe. And he couldn't figure out what is the significance of this snow globe. So that brings us into issue number 2. So like I said, long story short, the last part of it doesn't make any sense. However, everything else does. So issue number 2 pretty much starts off with somebody's trying to figure out who's a time traveler outside of, aka the Flash themselves. So now it goes back to Wayne Manor, where you got Thomas, who's pretty much, deep in his thoughts, walking in, stopping the grandfather clock from chiming and everything. And here comes Oswald, who is his actual assistant here, instead of Alfred. Remember from the last time we talked about Flashpoint. And it comes back to them talking about what, he had planned for the evening and everything, and that he would discuss the bigger issue with his plan later. And then they come across a room where his brand new ward is just staring out the window. And then he's up here, Oswald was like, hey, he's really wanting to learn about this, that, and the other. What should I do? And it's like, no, go ahead and teach him. He needs to learn. So now this brand new ward is about to learn the ways of Thomas Wayne through Oswald Cobblepot. So now this comes back to the whole thing about Commissioner Gordon, and I think this is Harvey Bullock's wife at this point, and they're trying to investigate what's actually happening behind the scenes here. And it looks like the Psycho Pirates have, did their damage in Gotham City. And there's Thomas Wayne, viewing everything from afar, and he's, getting to the whole investigation as far as that. So he goes into Arkham Asylum, which to me, this is a nicer looking Arkham Asylum than what we're accustomed to. So he gets into Arkham Asylum, he knocks out the guard, and lo and behold, we got our bane of existence dealing with DC comic books. two-page ad talking about the Milestone Initiative again, showing off who's all the new talent that they plan to hype up in the next couple of series dealing with the Milestone Initiative and everything. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do, but you could have did it all in one page. Could have gave us more story. But anyway, so eventually Thomas finally gets to the spot that he wants, and then he sees that this one guy hung himself that was part of the Psycho Pirates. And then he noticed that there's a lot of writing on the wall talking about Bruce and Batman, and Thomas is trying to figure out what is going on with this whole thing about Bruce. It was like, why is Bruce so significant? So eventually So eventually somebody cries out to him while he was there, and lo and behold, it is Glenda Dent. Who is Glenda Dent, that you might ask? How about Two-Face's wife?
I knew that.
I know you know that, but a lot of people don't know that.
I read it in a Superman book.
It's an awfully good Superman book because Superman books does not cover Thomas Wayne. But Glenda is there in Arkham Asylum, locked up because she's, partially insane. So pretty much, she's up here, pretty much up here talking to Thomas about everything between herself, him, his wife, Harvey, and their two sons, Dexter and Bruce. So pretty much, they kind of like rekindle a little bit, talking about, the days of the past and things that they share in the past that they have. And then out of nowhere, Thomas is like, you know what? Let me show you something. And he shows her a casino chip from one of his casinos. And the thing about it was, if you know the whole thing about Two-Face, she takes a look at the poker chip and she flips it over. And what's on the other side is crossed out. And she kind of gets like this look of surprise. It's like, I actually won. What did she win? Pray tell. And then she started smiling. And what she's smiling about is Bruce is dead. So now she knows that Thomas Wayne's son is dead. And she's happy about it. And then they get into this big discussion talking about how Thomas was the real reason why his wife became crazy, or at least in her eyes. And she was saying that it was way before Bruce's death that caused that. And she was alluding to like everything that was going on behind the scenes, that the dealings and everything. Now, I'm not going to go into Thomas Wayne history, but there's a lot of stuff there that kind of substantiates that she has an idea of what was going on. Now, mind you, at this time, Harvey is dead, Dexter is dead, Bruce is dead. So there's nobody else. There's nobody else there but them. The wife, Thomas's wife is still there, but I won't remember who she is. There's Glenda, and there's Thomas. So Thomas, enraged, she cracks the glass and everything, and she's still up here laughing, giggling, and everything. And you just see him constantly pounding at the glass, and then the glass completely breaks and shatters across her face and everything. And we finally get to see the birth of their version of Two-Face. And then Thomas walks away as he constantly goes into like a rant talking about how much it matters. Now, we're about to get into the scene that makes me scratch my head here. Because now we get to see something that we have never seen before in Flashpoint universe. At least not in the way that I have seen it. So pretty much, he's up here is like, no, my life is this, that, and the other. And, he's out there on patrol and everything. And they're, you got some people after as of right now. So he's trying to escape because, Thomas is not necessarily a vigilante. He does what he needs to do to get wherever he needs to be done. And then we got another bane of my existence here, which is a 2-page ad with one more page to go dealing with Dark Crisis. And there's the third page right there, because we need that big old checklist for everything that's going on with Dark Crisis. Don't know why they need to do. They use up so much space. They could give us more story for the $3.99 price, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not going to rant about that. So we see that Thomas eventually escapes, and he comes across another deal that's about to go down, where they're pretty much holding this one lady hostage, and he decides to intervene. And pretty much once he intervenes, he pretty much breaks up everything. The lady escapes. And most of the thugs are pretty much out for the count, except the one with the gun. And Thomas looks at him. And then Thomas gets to the point where it's like, you know what? Let me help you out there. Let me put the gun right there on my forehead. Go ahead. Pull the trigger. This, that, and the other. And the guy's up here stuttering. You can see that he's scared and everything. Before he could pull the trigger, Thomas Wayne snatched the gun from him and then points it at the dude. And then he has a flashback about how Bruce was killed. And then out of nowhere, Thomas Wayne gets hit. And who did he get hit by? I'm going to give BKM the first guess on that. Who did he get hit by?
Batman.
No.
Yeah.
He get hit by him. Talking about no, everybody matters.
The one true Superman.
That's what that symbol represents. I was
Yes,
like,
the one
wow.
true Superman. Yeah.
I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, wow.
I like that.
See, you don't get this with Bruce Wayne. Only Thomas Wayne gets the real Superman. He doesn't get no Kal-El. There's only the one true Superman, which is this one. So
That's right.
this is our first venture into their version of World's Finest.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where it gets kind of weird again, because now all of a sudden, looking into the snow globe, we see the three snowmen and the one character that came to ask Bruce for help, and he's up here kind of like muttering about the snowman family and all of this weirdness and everything. And Bruce is trying to figure out what he's really getting at about this snow globe again, and it's just more along the lines of more mystery behind it. And it ends up with this. It ends up with the beginnings of what we're going to find out about the secret of the Superman.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being stated, outside of the last scene, which they did it again, it's like, what is the purpose of Bruce knowing about what's going on in Flashpoint? And why is the significance of what Thomas is doing? So it's so important that Bruce needs to know. Now, mind you, my memory may not be all that great, but if I remember correctly, in the original Flashpoint, there was a letter between Thomas to Bruce that was delivered by Barry Allen.
Yes.
That letter necessarily did not lead up to the events that's going on within this series right now. However, they're trying to make a link between the two, which is not coming off very well. But throwing that to the side, throwing that away, everything else that's going on and the mystery that's going on about how Thomas is really dealing with his emotions, dealing with the death of Bruce, and how everything lines up, in the whole thing about training this one ward that's up under his care has been immaculate. It's been a decent read. With that being stated, I have to give issue number 2 of Flashpoint Beyond an 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
It would have been a 9 out of 10 if they would have at least did some more with what the whole thing with Bruce is going on, and this whole thing about the snow globe, or give us some type of more if they would have made it more of a riddle that could be understood by the reader instead of just gibberish about, how families are and this, that, and the other, and kind of like the characters doing like this reminiscent type thing, and Bruce is like standing there trying to, play this whole Riddler game with him, trying to understand what he's talking about. That to me doesn't help the rest of the story per se, or bridge the gap between the two universes. But I'm happy because why? I'm getting good Thomas Wayne stories despite that. So it is what it is. 8 out of 10 if you decide to pick up Flashpoint Beyond.
Cool.
Does
good.
Jeff Johns not like women?
I don't know.
Because Wonder Woman, killed Aquaman's wife, and she's kind of mean. Martha. Martha's Martha. You know what happened to her. Then now we got a female.
Mara and Arthur Curry.
Yeah.
Killed both of them.
Yeah. And then you got Mrs. Two-Face. I'm waiting for Mrs. Freeze now. It's like he's making all the women the bad guys.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But then again, we know that Martha is a significant character too in Flashpoint.
Yeah.
But they haven't really shown her per se in a long while in that aspect.
We're going to find out that Martha is the name of every superhero's mom.
Mother.
Why'd you say that name?
But
Get ready for the new DC program.
The
Get
one
ready for the new.
showing
Go ahead.
up.
I'm sorry, Joe.
No, I just was still like, I was like, wow, the one true Superman showed up. It's not Kal-El.
There you go.
Yeah. Get ready for the new DC program, Wives of Arkham Asylum.
I like this.
Yeah.
This. Yeah. Oh my god, that's funny. Anyway, speaking of funny, Cindy Kep has some. Why did Bruce's dentist give him mouthwash? Because he had bat breath. And what do you get when you cross Batman with a tree? Spruce, Wayne. I like that. How many Cape Crusaders does it take to change a light bulb? No, they like it dark. And why is Two-Face one of the better villains? Because he's only half bad. What did Bruce Wayne's mommy put over his crib? A bat. Mobile.
Yeah.
And why does Batman always win at cards? Because he always gets the Joker. And what did Batman do at the deli? Gotham. And Flashpoint and Carl Witzman says Flashpoints and alternate realities always confuse me. I wasn't confused until they had so damn many of them.
Yeah.
I could keep everything fairly well straight, but now, that's one of the things I did like about the New 52, because DC said at first that there would be no crises, that none of them had ever happened. And I'm like, I can work with that. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, except for that one on Infinite Earths, then that 0 Hour thing, basically they all happened all over again. So.
Well,
and in the beginning,
they did the rebirth because there's people that had an outcry. It's like, no, we want the old stuff back.
Yeah.
We don't get this. We don't get New 52. New 52, it just sucks. It doesn't jive with what we got for decades.
Yeah.
So what do? We got Rebirth.
Yeah, so
The
everything
Rebirth
goes back to the
brought everything
1986 universe. Yeah. Good point.
What'd you start to say, Eric?
Oh, I said they used to just have cool Elseworlds one-shots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. I miss those.
Then they
things,
started
too.
expanding on them. Expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just happy that I got at least more Thomas Wayne, and I got the two issue of War for Earth 3.
Mm-hmm.
And why Earth 3 is something with guns. And why Earth 3 is so significant to me? Because that's the crime syndicate Earth.
That's true. Good point. Well done, Joe. Thank you very much.
Mm.
Eric, would you like to go next?
I do have a question, though, and you guys will know more than me because, I don't read a lot of DC. But is there a Gotham by Gaslight universe? Have they ever expanded on that one?
There was a sequel to it.
Yeah.
And they've touched on there being a whole planet that took place in the Gotham by Gaslight
I
Universe.
would probably read that.
I would too. Especially if you could get like Brian Augustine to write that again.
And Mike Mignola to draw it.
Even better. Even better.
You just up here.
Rodman coming out of the woodwork? Nope.
Yeah, that's why I say you about to spend more of Rodman's money.
There you go.
I said Mignola 3 times, he'll appear. Mignola.
Oh, where's the milk carton?
Yeah, there we
milk
go.
carton.
Yeah.
Show us the milk carton.
Yes.
Where do you think I put it?
I beg your pardon.
Oh, wait a minute. I have a folder dedicated to CBS. Hold on. I keep forgetting this.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Because we have to run our PSA.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, so many buttons to click to share a screen.
There it goes. There it goes. Okay, here we go.
Our PSA is, have you seen this person? If you have, please contact us here at Comic Book Spectrum. He is sorely missed.
Indeed, he is. Thank you, guys.
Got
That
milk.
was fun. Got Brian?
We had a really nice cold front move in, and apparently he did down where Brian Rodman lives too, because he posted today he got to sit out in the autumn weather for a while. First time he's gotten out of the house very much because of his asthma condition and everything.
Yeah.
But it was a really nice day for him, he said, because he got to be out there and see, and he had pictures of the changing leaves and stuff. So
That was beautiful.
we miss you, Brian.
Very much so.
Mhm.
And I think he
Really, Eric?
maybe no. But no, I think he got a shot or something today that he's hoping will ease his problem. So, folks, if you have an idle moment sometime, please send positive energy and love and prayers to Brian Rodman and his wife Robin.
I told him
Because-
shots of tequila is not going to help.
That's what I use.
Couldn't hide.
Because then I don't care. I can't breathe. So anyway, Eric, would you like to grace us with a review?
Let's go.
All right. I love that enthusiasm.
So I picked this up because it was free, and I wanted to take a look at it because I've been watching an artist I know on Whatnot, where he's doing drawings and auctioning them off as he does them. But this is Whatnot Publishing, and there's 4 different stories, and they're very short. But one of them is Exiled by Wesley Snipes.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's a real thin book. It's only like 3 or 4 pages for each story, but I thought it was kind of neat. I mean, the art style, as you can tell by the cover, varies story by story quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they're going to be all different stories. And I'm not sure what's going on with Whatnot Publishing, so I want to know more about that. This one I picked up because the cover was cool. I don't even know what it's about, but I'm going to read this next week. Above Snakes.
Oh, yeah. You haven't read that yet?
Not yet.
Oh. Yeah.
But when I see the title, it makes me think of Snakes on a Plane. So,
Mother! Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
and then I started to read this one, and I just put it back down.
Cullen?
No,
He didn't wash his hands afterwards.
The new Seven Sons
Ah.
Oh, the
with the
design.
kitty cat cover because what did they start out doing? Oh, South Vietnam, 1964 or 68. I'm tired of them going back in time and tell me a freaking story.
So no G's eyes for us.
There's kind of a cross or a dagger on the back. Wait, let me find some G-Sai. Okay, there's some G-Sai in Vietnam killing Viet Congs. I almost used the slur I'd seen in all the movies. Like, whoa, I can't say that. So, what I am going to review, and just because I like the writer, most of the things he writes, and that's Jeff Lemire. And this is
Yeah.
The Bone Orchard Mythos, 10,000 Black Feathers. Now, apparently, the Bone Orchard Mythos is a story. There's multiple stories he's done before, and this is one of the new chapters. Which had a cool cover. I picked up one of the variants because I didn't see this one. I was like, yeah, I kind of wanted this one because it looked cooler. And I did not notice that until I put it on the screen. There's a mouth with teeth in that feather.
Ooh.
Eek.
Huh. Wow. Maybe I should have read it on the screen. Really, it's kind of hard to tell that way because it's very crosshatched, the whole thing. But it's a interesting story. I didn't know what it'd be about. I just like Jeff Lemire on some of this stuff. So this is about a girl who's an author. And she might have made a deal with the devil or something at one point. But as a child, she moves to a new town with the foster family. Makes a friend. They start working on stuff together because this girl reads and this girl reads, and she didn't know she read stuff. You didn't look like the type that would read stuff. What does that mean? So start hanging out with this other girl. And then the main character, which is, I can't tell you her name because I can't remember names. But it is this girl who's not looking too happy over here. She has a series of novels that are very popular, but the recent ones haven't been doing too well. So she had moved away, and she comes back home and visits her friend's mom. Now, you don't know what happened to the friend. It doesn't really tell you here. This is the friend in one of the pages, and there's just narration going on around the top, so you really don't know what's going on. Something is talking to her, though, throughout the book, asking her if she sees them falling, talking about the feathers, the 1,000 black feathers, apparently. And throughout the book, do you see these falling? Do you see them falling? One thing that took me a little bit out of the story, for the most part, the art's good, except... And there's only one artist, but there's two different styles in here. The artist is Andrea Sorrentino, and there's some pages which distract me because they are not drawn. They're manipulated Photoshop images for backgrounds. With the Photoshop, an image with a filter or two over it to make it look more comic booky. Yeah. So those kind of draw me right out. But, I mean, if you look at the style here, this is the same artist. Then you go into, I get a page here. This will be the flashbacks to when the kids met. It's a totally different style, but it's the same artist. I mean, completely different, like 100% different. So I'm hoping, like these panels like that, even though the background is altered images, I hope the faces and stuff aren't. That's a heck of a shortcut. Then this is the friend's mom. She used to play for the Flock of Seagulls. And I was like, what's wrong with her hair? I mean, that's jacked up. They showed her in a flashback scene, too, and she's still got the jacked up hair. Which she wasn't a very good parent. She goes out on dates, leaves the kids home alone, and just kind of neglects her child. You don't know much of what's going on, other than the girl who is the main author, or the author of the grown up, and you don't know where her friend is. The friend appears to be missing, and I think that has some kind of deal they made with a demon of some sort, like maybe this creature here. Ooh. But it's interesting enough to make me pick up the second issue. I don't know if I'll go further than that if it doesn't tell me a little more what's going on, which comes out probably next month. Preview for that. I mean, the art, for the most part, I like, except those backgrounds kind of drew me off right away. Drew me out. Because I was like, and that's throughout the book, when you're having the current pages, not the flashbacks. They're all like that, all the backgrounds and everything. I didn't even notice that page. So there's a waste of a page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A black feather and what is very little dialogue on the page before. It is light on dialogue. I'll say that you can read it probably in 5 minutes. Here's double page spread with "Help Me," which could be the missing girl. We don't know what happened to her, but she's covered in blood and hovering next to the street lamp. And you see silhouettes of feathers and feathers falling. Because some demon or something wants to know if she's seeing them fall. And I'm not going to completely recommend it yet because I don't know what's going on. It's not bad. It just you don't get much of what's going on other than a little background on the character, the one character, really, not even the other character, the missing girl, Jackie. So I can't give it more than a 6 right now. I mean, it might go up if issue 2 brings it together, but if issue 2 doesn't pick up, tell me more of what's going on, I'll probably drop it real quick.
Well, be careful, the feathers may spill out.
I know. And it should have came with a feather. That'd be cool.
Well, that'd be great.
With the teeth and mouth on it, that would be. Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is.
But Sorrentino was the guy that was drawing the Primordial series with Lemire, and that's one of the ones I was talking about that started off real strong.
Yeah.
With the animals, and just kind of, and I wasn't the only one. There was other people that were getting it, and they're like, "Where are we going? And how long is it going to take us to get there?" And we never really did arrive.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm hoping this one does the opposite. Starts slow and picks up.
I hope so, but
this one started good and went downhill.
And May's book that Lemire wrote did the same thing. So, two like right out of the gate and he also drew that one. So I had high expectations for both of those series, and they weren't horrible. They just didn't really have a very good defined ending or a developed narrative.
Yeah, I definitely don't want him to fall into my Cullen Bunn category.
Right.
Let's pray not.
But he's got Sweet Tooth and Moon Knight, so those two will keep him out of there for now.
There you go. I keep him busy. All right. Thank you, Eric. That was great. All right. And Cindy Kemp asks, what's the difference between a crow and a raven a raven? One has, I read that wrong. What's the difference between a crow and a raven? One has 4 pinion feathers and the other has 5 pinion feathers, so the difference is a matter of opinion. That's worth waiting for. How can you identify a bald eagle? All his feathers are combed to one side. And Carl Winston says, well, those altered photos reminds me a bit of those Italian and Mexican novella comics. Can't recall the proper name. In Italy, they're called fumetti. F-U-M-I-T-T-I, I believe. Fumetti. So anyway, and I want to say in Mexico they're called fotonovelas. I think. I could be wrong. Oh, what's the odds? Anyway, Carl yields the floor to Cindy. Which side of the goose has the most feathers? The outside. And did you hear about the bird that lost all of its feathers in a volcano? It was a molten. And what do you call a bird with no feathers? A bird. Anyway, love you, Cindy. Thank you. CKOEPV.com. Check out that website. It's awesome. And now, it's not because I'm the gold standard. I'm more like the cheap plastic standard now. But I have reviews now, so here we go. Now's the time to go get a sandwich. Oh, no, I hit the wrong button. There's the gold standard. He'll just move his lips and I'll do the talking. Anyway, no, we had a good week for comics this week. Quite a number of good comics came in. We're going to do our little bullets of comic book reviews. And Chip Zdarsky, writer-artist of Public Domain, 4th issue. The man that created the hero in question. He gets a settlement from the big publisher, and part of it involves him getting to do his version of the character. And the guy who's currently writing is like, he's like, he can't do that. That's it's fan fiction. How does he get the right? And what if it's good? Anyway, it's really, really good stuff. And if you want to know why he's grinning and has a black eye, you have to get the issue. It is, again, this is a terrific book. It is very much grounded in real life, real characters, and a lot of the stuff is going to sound real familiar if you follow your comic book history. Every issue has been a 10, and this is no exception. Really good read. Check it out. Next time you go into your comic shop, demand that they stock it. Next up is Mark Waid and make sure I get it right. Dan Mora have teamed up again to do World's Finest. And if you think that cover is crazy, it's upside down. It was printed in Australia. Anyway, in here and Mark Waid, the writer, takes the introduction from Grant Morrison that he did recently for Superman. Except in Metropolis, it's Gotham City. Doomed Planet. Desperate Scientists. Last Hope. Which is one of the best brief descriptions I've seen of the Superman mythos. But in this one, somebody from a parallel dimension winds up in Gotham, and he has powers in his own way, kind of similar to Superman, kind of, sort of. And he realizes that he's on a different world and he can't really go home again. There's all kinds of great in-jokes. In fact, one that I just noticed is that the character's last name is Sikela, Sikela. He was one of Joe Shuster's original art assistants, along with Wayne Boring and a number of other wonderful, wonderful artists. And once Joe Shuster was fired from DC in the mid-'40s for keeping that lawsuit going, Sikela stayed on to draw a number of Superboy episodes up into the 60s. So that was kind of a little nice nod there. Plus, the costume looks very familiar if you know your old history of the previous World Finest. But anyway, it's a tight little story here, really gripping. It's got a lot to recommend it, but it's just I'm giving it a 9.5. It was still a solid read. If this was the first issue I bought, I'd definitely want next issue. But Dan Mora's art seems a little different this time, although I do like how he really upped the expressiveness on the faces, particularly Superman. It's really good. It's a solid read there. And new series of Ultraman books. There have been 2 so far. This is the 3rd, which follows the second Ultraman character in the Ultra universe. He was called Ultra 7 because... Anyway, in this one, Dan Moroboshi, it goes in more about his relationship with his Ultraman and why there's only one Ultraman on Earth at a time. It's really fun. And he has a different relationship with his Ultra person. It's really quite refreshing. The artwork is good. It was a solid 10. Really entertaining. I really enjoyed that. And it's a Marvel comic. It's a 2. Anyway, and then Bloodshot Unleashed, brand new series. If you want to follow Valiant Comics, now is the time to do it, because right now they are only putting out 1 comic a month, and now it's Bloodshot. Bloodshot is if you didn't see the movie, it was great. With Vin Diesel. Bloodshot is a former government assassin that was filled with nanites and also filled with fake memories to get him to do various Wetworks missions. Well, it turns out in this series there were other companies doing something similar. Bloodshot now, his job is to get rid of the others. And that's his mission these days. Now, the thing is... in this issue, it differs from a lot of the earlier works of Bloodshot. The language and the gore has been upped. There is an F-bomb in here. And it starts out with Bloodshot, who also has powers of regeneration, blowing his own brains out in fairly decent detail. But he gets better. And there's also some extra stuff. If you order the... pre-order edition, if you go to your comic shop, you'll get extra pages, actually, of the... I gotta make sure this is safe to show. But you get to see the other variant covers. Also some behind-the-scenes stuff of the art. And a history of the #1 issues of Bloodshot. From the original Valiant and then the acclaimed version up to the present. Then you get to see some script and preliminary art on how this, tells you how this book was put together, some character studies, and it's a pretty decent story. I liked it, and there's also a black and white backup featuring some pages from the next issue of Bloodshot Unleashed. I really enjoyed the story. They found the writer, it's nobody I'm familiar with, Denise Camp, Deniz. Art is John Davis Hunt. Jordi Belair is the colorist, and Hassan Otsmane El Alao is the letterer. I apologize if I've screwed that up. But anyway, solid read, great concept, great reintroduction. Kind of ignores a lot of the stuff Jeff Lemire did with the time travel stuff, the bouncing back and forth. This one's because of the gore factor, this is going to, and the language, it's going to limit some people to who may want to buy this otherwise. So I'm going to give this a 9. Although I genuinely enjoyed it, I just don't think it is for everyone. And so parents, if you see your children picking this up, thumb through it first to make sure. Now, Sit Comics. They are the creation of former Hollywood writer Darren Henry. I want to say he wrote, I can't remember, he wrote one of the big sitcoms, not Friends, probably not Curb Your Enthusiasm, but he's a former Hollywood comedy writer, and what he's doing right now is he is putting together books that use like classic comic talent and also classic comic storytelling. And they're all, and they say so, complete story in this issue. And they have a little clock here that shows that it's suitable for many audiences, because this would be the kind of stuff that runs at 8 p.m. at night. Also, it's triple the pages. For $3.99, you get about 64 pages of story. Darren Henry is the artist, along with Craig Rousseau doing the art. And the basic premise, it's called Startup. This is the second issue. And she's a suburban mom with a decent job. She also weighs 300 pounds, but when her powers kick in, she slims down to supermodel size and can run at about 300 miles an hour. It sounds goofy, but there's a lot of great art in here. Like that's the adjudicator.
Used to reverse a big Bertha from West Coast, not West Coast, Great Lakes Avengers.
Exactly, and it's the artwork is really quite good. The storytelling is strong, and it's got the best ad for Blue Baron, who is kind of their flagship title here, which is kind of a twist on the old Billy Batson Captain Marvel thing. It shows the two of them together. Ernie's a wimpy kid who always wanted to be a superhero. Just not this superhero. And on the other side it says the Blue Baron has conquered alien invaders, superpowered psychopaths, and megalomaniacal mutants. But will he be able to conquer 8th grade? It's a story. It's kind of like a Parent Trap thing where the adult and the child have switched bodies, and it's really entertaining. But Startup is really good too. Really enjoying the story. Great dialogue. Great fast-moving script. And this one is. There could be a little more detail in the art, a little more shadows and stuff. It almost looks like it was drawn like a coloring book, but just the same, I'm giving it a 9.5. And I just told my comics monger that if it's Sit Comics and their slogan is "It's TV you read," but anything that comes in from these guys, I want it in my pull list. They've also got a new book, looks like a younger thing called Telepathetic. Which could be kind of cute. And then I saw next week, I just noticed that they're releasing another title. Hopefully, this one was about 3 weeks late. But it's drawn by Al Milgrom. Used to draw Guardians of the Galaxy, Spectacular Spider-Man, was epic editor for a long time. Great stuff. A really talented guy. And then I picked this up because my friend Roy Thomas wrote it. It's X-Men Legends. Next issue will be Ann Nesenti. But in this one, this takes place right after Incredible Hulk 181. And also ties into Captain America 174. Plus only Roy Thomas, who knows everything about continuity. He clears up a question from around 1975 in 2 panels. And it's something that's unexpected and really delightful to read. but it is a really solid story continued from the previous issue. You should be able to find the first issue. I definitely recommend you do this. One of the best stories Roy has written in years. And Roy used to write the X-Men. Twice he succeeded Stan Lee on the original run, and then he wrote it up to the very end of the original run, usually in Congress with Neil Adams and Tom Palmer. Definitely entertaining, a lot of fun. Don't need to know the whole history of the X-Men. Treat the little asides in here like Easter eggs. 10 out of 10. Good stuff. Now, I got this other book here. I'm really excited. It's a first issue. And I think it has possibilities. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, believe it or not. But they got the date on the cover wrong. But I got this. It is a replica of Action Comics #1 with, of course, the classic first appearance of Superman by Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster. Now, when I was in the shop, one of the other patrons said, well, don't you have that already? Yeah, sure. I'm old, but I'm not old enough to get June 1938, kids. And also, I do own the Treasury Edition, which reprinted the original Action Comics from cover to cover, like this one does with the original ads, much like Marvel's been doing last couple of years. And, see? Joe, you might like this. There is not a single Batman ad in here.
The way it's supposed to be.
Exactly. And Superman, the Superman story, it shows you how fast-paced it was, how incredible. Because you start out with his kind of origin, and you go to him taking care of someone who is a wife-beater, and then saving some guy from electrocution by breaking into the governor's bedroom. And then it goes over to the Daily Star, and where Clark Kent, soon-to-be star reporter, makes the pledge. George Taylor, as we find out later, tells him, you got to find out more about this Superman. And Clark grins and goes, listen, Chief, if I can't find out anything about Superman, no one can. And then we find out that Lois hates the very air that Clark breathes because he's a wimp, but doesn't know about his alter ego. And you needn't be afraid of me. I won't harm you. There's a way to make a bad first impression. And then, ignoring everyone's privacy, Clark turns into Superman and starts jumping. And remember, in this one, he doesn't fly or have vision powers.
Leaps tall buildings in a single bound. It kind of hovers.
Exactly. And then we have classic characters like Chuck Dawson by H. Fleming. And also the very first appearance of Zatara.
Ooh. Satana's father.
And with the backward magic in one panel by Paul Gardner, really good stuff. Then, of course, the stories, the text stories, humor pages. See, that's what the early anthologies were. They were a mixed bag for everyone. There was action, there was adventure, detective stories, humor stories, exotic locales. Here's one illustrated by Sven Eleven, The Adventures of Marco Polo.
Marco
Polo. That's what Cookie and I do. Pep Morgan, also by Fred Gardner. It's boxing. It's a boxing comic. This is more like manga. Bill Ely was doing stuff up into the 60s with Scoop Scanlon, 5-star reporter. See, most comics would give you a 4-star one, but you get 5 stars in here because they care. And then Tex Thompson by Bernard Bailey. Bernard Bailey went on to co-create The Spectre with Jerry Siegel, and also the character Tex Thompson later becomes the Americommando during World War II. And also some stuff from Sheldon Moldoff. Is this a find or what? If you want to get an idea of what the early comics look like, this is $6.99. It is the best $6.99 I've spent all week. And this is absolute 10 out of 10, because this is comic book history right here. And highly recommend you pick up a copy and get your own copy of Action Comics #1. And that's my stuff for tonight. So
I'm surprised you didn't buy 10 of them and got 5 on the slab.
I did joke about that in the store. That well, back when I managed a comic shop, we had kids that would buy the Treasury edition when it came out, and they'd pull off that front cover, the protective front cover, and then you were left with the replica. Of course, the replica was big. You know, it was like about probably easily twice the height and twice the width of what you saw here, which actually is not the same size as the original. The original would have been a little larger than this, but paper cuts have been the comics have been shrinking over the years. But anyway, I just think it was a wonderful idea, and I am putting myself down for a lot of the replicas. But I did joke. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Joe. Just like that. The first edition series.
I never noticed that there was an actual reproduction of the cover.
Yeah.
Behind that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was basically the original from front cover to last, with the warnings that no, you can't send in 10 cents and get X-ray specs and look at through your mom's dress. But no, it was just a lot of fun. It shows you where we started and how far we've come.
Yeah,
so.
This one didn't have it. This one just went directly into it.
Okay, yeah, but the earlier issues like the like Superman, Action, and I think Batman and Detective 27 did have those fake covers. But no, people would come in and try to sell them to us as if they were from the 40s or 30s. Unfortunately, somebody knew better. It usually wasn't them. So, but yeah, it was a pretty good haul this week. And, you know, Clyde looked at his next week pull, and mine's looking pretty cheerful, too. Well, I will say that I did get the 2 individual issues of the X-Men title there. I genuinely enjoyed them. X-Men Legends. I am not going to be picking up issue 3, though. It's going to be Ann Nessetti who did she's going to be bringing back Long Shot that she created with Arthur Adams. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Ann Nessetti's writing, is the thing. Whereas I am a huge fan of Roy Thomas's. Maybe if Ann Nessetti would write an introduction for one of my books, we might talk. But anyway, no, she's not a bad writer at all.
I'm sure she'll get on that right away.
Oh yeah, if she knew that I possibly existed. But anyway, whereas I keep reminding Roy I do. But anyway, no, she wrote a long series on Daredevil, where she introduced, who was it? Bloody Mary, was it? What's her name?
Typhoid Mary.
Typhoid Mary. Thank you. But it just meandered. It just dragged on and on and on. Although it had some really nice art by John Romita Jr. and Al Williamson. That was really nice. But the stories just didn't have a whole lot of focus for my taste. Didn't seem to be moving. So I was grateful when somebody else took over the writing. So I will not be picking up the next few issues of X-Men Classics. So don't expect.
Did she start out as an editor?
Yeah. Yeah.
She was editing Claremont for a while.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, she was a good editor. She really was, and she has written some stuff that I did enjoy. Her Black Orchid was not too bad. You know, she did a series of that. Although I prefer the more super heroic version over the Vertigo version. So, but that's just me being a stick in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, folks, those are our reviews for tonight, and we hope that it inspires you to go to your local comic shop and pick up some new books. There's some really good material out there, and occasionally we'll warn you when there's some ferocious crap stinking up the stands too. It might even take flight. But anyway, let's see, we've got some more comments here. Oh my God, Cindy has been, either I talk too much, which is possible. Here we go. Cindy Kemp is resuming the jokes. Get ready, folks. I was awakened last night by a strange cluck, cluck, cluck sound and feathers falling on my face. Must have been a poltergeist. And I buy every comic book I see. My friends say I have lots of issues. Yeah, that's hitting a little close to home there. And what do you call a comic drawn with only a pencil? A graphite novel. I like that. I like that. Cindy Kemp went to buy an Invisible Man comic yesterday, but she couldn't see any. What comic book hero loves dad jokes? The pun is sure. There's one right there. And the city said, I went to the DVD rental store and asked if I could have Batman Forever. The guy said, no, just 24 hours, just like all the others. No, that's good. I love that.
Yeah, that's a
And-
good.
That was really classic there. Cindy Cap said, if I could be any superhero, I think I'd be Aluminum Man. My superpower would be foiling crime. And where do most superheroes live? Cape Town. And why are elevator jokes so good? Because they work on so many different levels. Cindy Cap, I always used to get small shocks when touching metal objects, but it recently stopped. Needless to say, I'm ecstatic. That's an X-Men book. And Cindy Cap says, I like to tell dad jokes, but I don't have kids. I'm a faux pa. And Nita, she's hiding out on my Incognita channel. Ooh, Incognita, eh? Anyway, check out the Raging 2 chat network on Facebook and on YouTube. Great entertainment, great array of shows. And if you're up at 5 o'clock on tomorrow morning, Randy Zimmerman will be on at 5 a.m. Eastern talking comics, because then we can get Glenn Fleming and Russ Leach from Great Britain to be on the show, because it's in the afternoon for them.
Right. And
But
accountability.
you don't have to watch it live. You can watch it on the rerun.
And she's the type of person that keeps you accountable. That's the reason I'm showing the sketch again.
Okay, there we go. Just checking up on you, huh?
Yeah, it's an idea that they kind of had me going with.
Okay.
And it's just like, even if it's just one sketch a day, start filling up sketchbooks. One page a day.
Yep.
You don't have to do much of anything. You don't have to get overly detailed, but once you get that muscle going, it's like you never know how many volumes of stuff you actually have that you can work for.
No, it's actually a very good idea. Good on you, Nita. And Carl and Donna and Nita are saying hello to each other. And good show, folks. Looks like Brian has control again, so I'm backing out. Carl, thank you again for being here when I needed you. You are a lifesaver. And another candies. Anyway, Nita, or listen to the replay because that's too early. Nita, I've been up for an hour by the time the show starts, okay? So,
That's your fault.
No, it's cookies. And Brian has control. Ask Donna. I usually do, as long as I don't drink too much water beforehand. But if my bladder starts, no, never mind. We'll go into that later. Anyway, Nita, we're glad you're here. You and Donna both. Mwah.
Wasn't that a song by Prince? Bladder Control.
That's the one. And Nita goes, Joe D putting
Wow.
out like a prostitute, always working it. All right. I would put that on your resume, Joe. That's quite an endorsement there.
Yeah, well, the confidence I would, the sentiment or how it may come across, maybe not.
I'd put it on mine.
That's you, but you know how to work something like that to your benefit. I don't.
Well,
I
that's right.
believe they like to be called sex workers now.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to be, but it's not true. Anyway, hi, Mom, in case you're watching for once. But anyway, we've got a few minutes left. Did anyone have anything they want to discuss?
There was one thing that I noticed this week.
Yes, Clyde.
You mentioned the use of a name of a comics professional tucked into the story
Yes.
for the world's finest. Stargirl episode, they had a supporting character named Erwin Hassan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, Golden Age artist, co-creator of Wildcat.
Yep. And the
And,
comic strip Dondi.
Yeah. Yeah. Comic strip Dondi. The Green Lantern, I think. Did he draw? And
no, that wasn't him. That wasn't him.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay. But
I don't think there was another Irwin.
okay. But
Steve Irwin?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
The Lantern Hunter.
But yeah, it was kind of one of those out of left field mentions that you go, what? Who?
And Nita, I'm not running that other comment, and you can't make me say it. Anyway,
It just says, O's hit.
hose it. Yes, she wants to look at your Space Ghost. I think that's code.
This is a Captain Action custom Space Ghost that I worked on and had some other people help me make years and years ago. But Yep.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
It would
I
be
never could make the
interesting-
white boots work. He looks better with the stocking feet, I think. But
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
would have been interesting if you could do a Captain Action Birdman.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen some customs of it, and it makes a wonderful figure. But I never did go that route.
Yeah. I would think the balance on that would be precarious, but Nita,
Yeah.
being the youthful lady she is, recognizing Space Ghost as if we could not love you more. We do now. We find you beguiling. Anyway, no, that's one of the best costume designs ever, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Yep,
And anyway, Carlene says, I don't remember Space Ghost having such limp wrists. We don't shame for that kind of thing around here, okay?
I've got the gloves that make him look like he's actually firing off the
Right.
power band. So
That's right, yeah.
He fires like that,
Yeah.
which doesn't make any sense. Normally, it's like you think about it, it's like when most people when he fires without touching it, he it's full fist. But when he's touching it, it's for some reason it's like that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the actual hands on the action figures, being like this, like a George Tuska thing.
Yeah.
If you point them in the right direction, basically, Space Ghost would activate his power beams and then destroy his toes. So Nita says, Space Ghost was one of Pawpaw's favorites, so I'm very familiar. He's one of my first loves. I don't blame you. I remember seeing that thing 9:30 Saturday mornings on WCIA Channel 3. I love that thing. Not shaming, just commenting. I'm thinking it's that ant guy. There you go. Thank you, Donna. We love you. Oh. So anyway,
Oh, there it is.
what's what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
the series that I remember. Remember in rerun. Birdman
I love
Gone
Birdman.
Trio.
Yeah. I have to admit that the 90s stuff with Harvey, Birdman, Attorney at Law, and the Space Ghost Coast to Coast,
yeah.
I didn't care for those.
You
They're
have to
funny.
you have to love C Lab 2021.
Now that I enjoyed. But it is just like, no, if you're going to spend all this time and money, give me back the classic characters.
Well, Harvey Birdman was like the Attorney at Law was an acquired taste. It's not for everyone. That one was definitely not for everybody. But once you get past what they did with every character, it's like, oh, now it makes sense.
Oh yeah, it did.
And you know that series spun off into Bird Girl.
That's true. Yes.
Where Bird Girl takes over everything, the whole corporation that Harvey used to work for. And Harvey's not in this one. That's the thing. All the older characters in this one is not in Bird Girl.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's its saving grace, because it's not building off of the lore from this anymore.
Yeah. Well, I just remember the revivals of many of the Hanna-Barbera shows in the 90s. The only one I liked was What Would Scooby Do?
What's new Scooby Doo?
No, it was called What Would Scooby Do?
It
It only lasted like a couple seasons, and it had this great hard rock sound to the theme. It was really fun. Yeah, it only lasted like a couple of years, but it was probably as close to the originals as one would get, with kind of a 90s attitude to it. I really enjoyed that one, but the new Johnny Quest, oh god, that was awful.
The 2000 remake of Mystery Inc. to me was the best reincarnation of Scooby-Doo.
Mm-hmm.
Because they reinvented Coolsville, and there was like a deep-seated mystery that was there, because I believe Coolsville was now called Crystal Cove.
Okay.
And there was a legend of Crystal Cove that they was trying to solve, and it turns out that there was another Mystery Inc. before them.
Oh, that's
and they
right,
ended up meeting different members of that Mystery Inc. trying to solve that one mystery of Crystal Cove, dealing with a lot of different things. And it talked about a lot of the characters in a different light, and how certain characters were a certain way, and the reason why they were a certain way, especially dealing with Freddy.
Yeah. Cool. Well, maybe I will have to look into those again.
Yeah,
but
it's called Mystery Inc.
Mystery Inc. I will look for that. Yeah, I would look into the YouTube archives and play the theme of what would Scooby do, and it's only like 50 seconds. But I don't want to get a copyright strike or claim on this program on YouTube. So go look it up on your own, kids. And yes, there we go, Brack. That was the name I couldn't come up with. Yes,
right. Yeah.
I remember Brack.
Hey, if you want to dive into the heroic versions of those characters from the old cartoons, DC put out Future Quest a few years ago, where they had a crossover with Mighty Mightor and Birdman and Space Ghost and I think the Galaxy Trio. I think they were
no,
there.
the Impossible Trio.
Well, they had the Impossibles.
Yeah, they had the Impossibles and also the Herculoids,
The
Frankenstein
Herculoids.
Jr., Captain Caveman.
Right.
Maybe it was the Galaxy Trio, but anyway, it was marvelously done.
Yeah, it was
really good.
Top talents and stuff. It was very enjoyable, but it's very straightforward. It's not done for humor.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I'd always thought those characters should get together. So.
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot. And then the following year was like individual issues of the characters, like
Right.
maybe 1-part or 3-part or whatever.
But
yeah,
They
and
came up with Scooby Apocalypse shortly after that, and all these other variations.
I
remember Jess's at one time had their own small little series.
I think the only one of those that the DC revivals I didn't get to read was the Wacky Races. Pastiche. But I was surprised how much I liked Scooby Apocalypse. It was a lot better than I thought it would be, which is kind of maybe damning with faint praise. The Flintstones were great.
Yeah.
That was, in fact, somebody in the comic shop tried to get me to buy it, and he said, you buy the 2 trade paperbacks. If you didn't like them, I'll buy them off of you. Now, I got to read them online on Hoopla, but they are excellent, and it was by not Tom Taylor, Mark Russell. That was my first introduction to him. And then he did Snagglepuss Exit Stage Left.
Now, that was surprising. I heard surprisingly good.
It was.
It was excellent, and the art was by Howard Chaykin, who, if they would ever put out an omnibus of American Flag, that was his shining moment as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, glad to see you, Donna. Mwah. Thank you for being here. Give Joe Dog our love.
No.
And not sure if that was cat or couldn't set off the ring. Okay. Okay. Anyway, probably cat. You got enough cats. Anyway, take care, Donna. And I know you're going to take Carl with you. So thank you again, Carl, for the early save. We do appreciate that.
No,
yes.
I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, but I'm glad that they did it because they finally wrapped up the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo with this one movie.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was called The Legend of the 13th Ghost or something like that.
You are doing to me.
And they had somebody imitate Vincent Price for this accurately. They brought back all the old characters. So like Flim Flam came back in the movie. So it kind of like expanded like what actually happened in those years between the Scooby-Doo that we have now, 13 Ghosts, and when they first split up. Because Freddie was up here thinking that when they was, during this one break where it was like this from this one summer to another summer, it's like almost like 2 years. That Daphne, Shaggy, and Scooby did not do anything, but it turned out they did 13 Ghosts, and it kind of surprised, Freddie and Velma that they did all of this stuff, and that the ghost that they actually captured was real, and they had a hard time believing that. And they were up there, it's like, who is this Vincent Van Gogh and all this other stuff? And when they came across the crystal ball, because they had all this stuff packed away in storage, and they had this yard sale, and then the crystal ball came out, Shaggy and Scooby had this conniption. It was like, no, it can't be. It's like, put that away. We got to get away from here. We got to get away from here. Then all of a sudden, crystal ball lights up. You have Vincent Van Gogh. It's like, I can't talk to you right now. I'm in the middle of something. all of this stuff is about to come to an end. We actually did it, and then he gets hurt. They actually hear him, getting hurt. And it's like all of a sudden, it's like, oh no, if I don't survive this, this is where I'm at. You need to finish the job that we started. And Scooby and Shaggy was like, no, we're not doing this. I knew that this thing would come. It was like the rest of it, like Freddy and Velma was like, what are they talking about? It's like how bad it could be.
Yeah. Well, that's funny.
And then when Flim Flam came back, that surprised everything, because remember, Flim Flam was a little bitty kid. Now he's like a 19-year-old in this one.
Oh no! Wow.
So he grew up. I was like, they did the final chapter of 13 Ghosts very well.
Oh, that's funny. I'll have to look that up.
And there's more lore behind that, because Vincent Van Gogh did not tell the 100% complete truth about what happened with that chest.
Well, of course not. Then the show had been over.
No, there's an actual legend behind it.
Yeah.
But it how can I say it without ruining it? There were some other actors that played a factor in why that chest was so important.
Okay.
It leads you to the question, was the 13th ghost actually real or not?
I like that. That's a good point.
Guys, my launch date has decided to take off, so I got to get out of here.
Okay, well, Clyde, thank you for being here.
Thanks for
real
having
quick,
me.
you want to give a quick where you can be found?
Sure. I'm Clyde Hall. I'm an independent author and an elder statesman of geekery, and I'm a contributing writer. What a contributing writer writes, what does he write, and where does he contribute his writing to, you may ask? Well, you can find my online comic book reviews at The Beat, www.comicsbeat.com, and at doomrocket.com, www.doomrocket.com. I'm also a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. I have work appearing in the award-winning anthology series, Pulp Realities Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Number 4 is on the way. I also have a story in the Tim Bruckner's Major Marjorie publication, an anthology, along with Brian Morris and Jim Beard and Alicia Kent. I have a story called Hooray for Halloween, which is coming up. This would fit into the season that we're entering. I don't have any copies, though. I'm sold out. I'm waiting for new copies to come so I can sell some more. So I can't show you, but take my word for it, or don't. Go to Amazon and look up all of the wonderful new pulp offerings from Stormgate Press. And Charles Huff Millhouse, you can also look up all the things he's got cooking at Stormgate at www.stormgatepress.com. But tune in next week for all the fun and frivolity of NCBD +1 again on Thursday night with one twist of the dial to Comic Book Spectrum. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Clyde. Thank you for being here.
Bye.
Yay! So let's say we close out the show then. All right.
Yep.
All right. Let's go to Eric.
What?
Think fast. Think fast.
Hey, I'm Eric Hawkins. Hey, you can find me there. All my links are there. I follow Joe's.
You got the link tree. Yay!
Yeah, I follow Joe's. I've been looking at it every week for months now. I'm like, I have a link tree. Why don't I just post it where my name is like Joe does? So I did that today, right before the show, and updated all the links. So you got my Patreons out there, my Kickstarter launch page is out there for Zombiful Adventures #1 with Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn as U.S. Marshals, trying to intercept a train that's rushing towards Union Station in St. Louis, but that's got some unexpected trespassers on the train that are dead or not dead. And yeah, I do comics, and you can find me here every Thursday night, reviewing comics. Some I might like, some I might not. You can find me after this show on another show, drawing, and I guess tonight we're doing H.R. Geiger. I am not sure. We might be, we might not be. Some people have been wanting to do a new anime that dropped this week, or manga, anime on Netflix. I'm not sure what it is. It's the cyberpunk thing. But I don't follow anime, so I don't know what it is. And nobody's prepared to do it, so we probably won't be doing that. So that's pretty much it.
Wow, it sounds like Schrodinger's broadcast there. You know, it either is or it isn't.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
And Jody McFee.
Yes, you can catch me right there. That's my link tree, like I always do there. This Saturday, I'm probably going to end up doing a review of the first 2 issues of what is it called again? There's an Alien in My Toilet, as well as one issue number 1 and 2, and Wonder Duck number 1, and maybe if I do get a chance to finish reading all 4 on Sacrimony 1 through 4.
Nice.
And don't forget, for those who are still waiting for their copies here, they're going to be in the mail this weekend. You should have them hopefully by the end of the month here. And if you missed out on getting your copy of issue number 7 or any issues of Amazonia, you can always hit up the link tree, go to the company website, and buy them directly from there.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm Brian K. Morris, and I'm the instigator here. If you want to find out what I'm up to, go to risingtide.pub. Please sign up for my insider information letter that goes out on the first of every month. And we've got videos in it. We've got some news of where we're going to be. And in fact, I have the next 2 weekends off. Now, starting in October, I'm everywhere. I'll be at the the Great Lexington Book Bash in Lexington, Kentucky on October 1st, followed by the Benton County Book Expo in Fowler, Indiana, hosted by Amanda Tockert. And it's unofficially called FezCon. So please come see us. We've got about 5 more gigs for this year so far. And but anyway, if you want to find out where we're at, go to risingtide.pub. And also we are found on Amazon, Smashwords. And I'm mostly on Facebook, but we've just now signed up for TikTok. Now, if I can just stop being taken down the rabbit hole with all those different shows that I'm discovering, maybe I'll get something done.
What kind of shows are those, bro?
Well, I'm hooked on one called by a fellow named B. Dylan Hollis. Have you seen those?
No, most stuff I see on there is girls shaking their booty and their boobs.
Well, this is a gay man shaking his. But anyway, no, it's he takes recipes from the past, like the 60s, the Depression era, World War II. Things like avocado bread. I just saw one today where he had macaroni biscuits.
Has he done mock apple pie yet?
No, but he did do dump cake.
No. Have you ever had a mock apple pie?
I think I have. Yeah, a long time ago.
It's made with Ritz crackers. That's it.
That's it. Yes, he did do. He's done a couple with Ritz crackers, and it's fun to watch his expression towards the end. Whether he takes a bite and he's not real certain, and all of a sudden it's like, "Ooh, this is good," And then he declares them to be war crimes, Like he did one today where he declared this. It was tomato aspic, which was a way that our parents tried to trick us into eating vegetables by putting it inside gelatin.
Yeah, tomatoes and gross.
Yeah, this sounded pretty ghastly, and he
tomatoes
said
and cherry Jello. That's just scary to think about.
Yeah.
No, actually, it was tomato, ground up tomatoes, and just unflavored gelatin.
Ooh.
Yeah, that stuff's foul. I remember having that. They used to have Knox gelatin, and they made you drink it because it strengthened your fingernails and stuff. My mom drank that a lot. I tried it twice.
I made something the other night, a couple weeks ago now. I had when I was a kid, and it was probably because my dad had it when he was in the Depression.
Yeah.
And my wife had never had it. It was tomatoes and just macaroni.
Yeah.
Just stewed tomatoes and macaroni. She's like, no. I said, well, you weren't poor like we were as kids.
Well, if you do it right, it's not a bad meal.
No, it was pretty good. I liked it. I was like,
it
tastes just like my mom made. But apparently she didn't put nothing in it but macaroni and stewed tomatoes.
Yeah, I was gonna say you go into the spice cabinet and drop a little oregano, maybe some garlic on it. Italian it up a little. That doesn't sound half bad.
The one thing I remember my dad eating that I found out later was from
more macaroni salad. When you think about it,
yeah, pretty much. When the internet came about, I found out where it originated from. It was from the Great Depression, and I I've ate it because my dad ate it, and I found it very good. It's going to sound disgusting, but it's peanut butter and onion sandwich.
It does sound horrible, but by the
It
same
tasted good. I was surprised. Yeah. I haven't had one in a long time, but yeah, that's where it came from, the Depression. I guess that's why my dad ate it all the time.
Yeah. Well, I just recently, like a couple years ago, you see bread and butter pickles in the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize that. I looked it up on the internet one day, and that's also a Depression era thing. In lieu of, and also World War II, in lieu of meat, which was being rationed. And I tested it. You get like regular bread, put a good thick, slathering of regular butter on it, then put these pickles on top. If you get the good thick pickles, the consistency is almost like meat. It's kind of like eating a portobello mushroom. It's that kind of consistency.
Oh yeah, because a good bread butter pickle is thicker. It's a thicker slice, and it does have a chewier. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was actually quite good. So I was really surprised by that. And something else that surprises me is our Patreon supporters. Ha! What a segue! I'm the king of segue.
Because
anyway,
it's your bread and butter. Because it's your bread and butter. Because they support you.
Exactly. They help keep the rising tide going. And if you want to find out what we give you in return for your ongoing financial support, check out our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. We are currently serializing the first draft Flash novels of Volcana 2, and also all kinds of wonderment in there, and our twice weekly blog. Every blog deserves a name. So please check that out, and we hope you'll sign up for that. And otherwise, we want to thank our sponsors tonight, Rising Tide Publications. 9 more chapters, and we got the editing done on the Terror, so please look for that, hopefully out before the end of the year. And also our ongoing sponsor, for whom we are very grateful, and that's Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
So check out the Plasma Fire Graphics Facebook page, and then when you're done there, go to plasmafiregraphics.com and ask Jeffrey Hayes about his independent creator-friendly pricing. You're going to be amazed. He can not only do your wraparound cover or your comic book cover, he also can do the graphics you'll need to sell it online, as well as a beautiful trailer like you just saw. So check it out. That's Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And anyway, Cindy Kep is waving at us. Night, Cindy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the great jokes, and thank us. She thanks us for hosting the adventure. Thank you for being a part of it. And odd but strange, Cindy, I'm still listening. I'm still in the room. Enough talking about me. But anyway, folks, thank you again for being here. We'll be back next week, hopefully with working internet. And we'll be back with more reviews here on Comic Book Spectrum. So again, thank you all for being here. And as always, folks, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great week. We will see you next Thursday on Comic Book Spectrum.